The scorching African sun beats down mercilessly on the vast savanna as Kesi crouches behind a cluster of acacia thorns, her powerful muscles coiled like springs, ready to unleash deadly force. Her dark eyes scan the horizon with the intensity of a predator, but today she is not the hunter, she is the hunted. The gentle breeze carries an ominous scent that makes her nostrils flare and her heart pound against her ribcage like a war drum. Hyenas. A pack of them, and they're closing in on her family. 4.3 million years ago, long before the rise of modern humans, before cities and civilization, before fire and tools became extensions of the human spirit, our earliest ancestors faced a world that demanded everything from them. Every sunrise brought new challenges. Every sunset marked another day of survival against impossible odds. This is the story of Kesi, an Australopithecus anamensis female whose courage and determination would echo through the generations, shaping the very DNA that flows through our veins today. The East African Rift Valley stretches endlessly in every direction, a landscape both beautiful and terrifying. Ancient lakes shimmer like mirrors under the relentless sun, while volcanic peaks pierce the sky like the fangs of sleeping giants. The air thrums with the constant buzz of insects, the distant calls of birds, and something far more sinister, the haunting laugh of spotted hyenas growing closer by the minute. Kesi's keen hearing picks up every sound, every rustle of grass, every snap of a twig that might signal danger approaching her precious family. Behind her, nestled in a shallow depression surrounded by weathered rocks, her infant son Django clings to his older sister Asha. At barely 2 years old, Asha understands the gravity of their situation with an intelligence that belies her age. Her small hands grip Django tightly, her eyes wide but focused, already learning the harsh lessons of survival that will define her entire existence. These early hominids possessed a remarkable combination of ape-like strength and emerging human-like intelligence, a perfect evolutionary response to an environment that showed no mercy to the weak or unprepared. The hyena's distinctive whooping calls grow louder, more confident. Kesi knows they've caught her scent trail. These weren't the relatively smaller hyenas of today. These were prehistoric monsters, some weighing over 200 pounds, with bone-crushing jaws capable of snapping a femur like a dry branch. Their pack mentality made them even more dangerous, working together with the coordination of experienced warriors who had perfected the art of bringing down prey much larger than themselves. Kesi's mate, Barak, should have returned from his foraging expedition hours ago. The gnawing worry in her chest competes with the immediate terror of their current predicament. Did the hyenas find him first? Is he lying somewhere in the tall grass, his life's blood seeping into the thirsty earth? She forces these thoughts from her mind. Survival demands absolute focus on the present moment, on the immediate threats that could end everything in the next few heartbeats. The landscape around them tells the story of constant change. This region, which scientists would later call the cradle of humanity, experienced dramatic shifts in climate and geography. Lake levels rose and fell like the breathing of some massive earth spirit. Forests gave way to grasslands, forcing our ancestors to adapt or perish. Those who survived developed longer legs for covering vast distances, more efficient gaits for pursuing prey and escaping predators, and most crucially, enhanced cooperative behaviors that would become the foundation of human society. A shadow passes overhead, and Kesi instinctively ducks lower. A massive martial eagle circles above, its wingspan stretching over 8 feet, capable of snatching a young hominid with the same ease it would claim a small antelope. The prehistoric world offered no sanctuary, no safe haven where families could rest without constant vigilance. Every creature was both predator and prey, locked in an eternal dance of survival that had been playing out for millions of years. The first hyena appears at the crest of a nearby hill, its spotted coat rippling with muscle as it moves with the fluid confidence of an apex predator. Its yellow eyes lock onto Kesi's position with the precision of a guided missile. A low growl rumbles from its throat, a sound that speaks of hunger, intelligence, and the absolute certainty that this hunt will end with blood. Behind it, more shapes materialize from the shimmering heat waves. 6, 7, 8 hyenas spreading out in a coordinated flanking maneuver that would make modern military tacticians proud. Asha whimpers softly, and Kesi makes a decision that will ripple through evolutionary history. Rather than fleeing and potentially exposing her children to being run down in open ground, she rises to her full height, nearly 4 feet tall, and lets out a roar that combines the fury of a protective mother with the raw power of her ape ancestry. The sound echoes across the savanna like thunder, carrying miles in every direction. It's a challenge, a warning, and a promise all rolled into one primal scream. The lead hyena pauses, momentarily surprised by this display of defiance. In its simple predator mind, prey is supposed to run, not stand and fight. But Kesi is no ordinary prey. She represents millions of years of evolutionary pressure that favored intelligence over raw strength, cooperation over individual prowess. Her bipedal stance allows her to see farther across the grasslands, to spot threats and opportunities that four-legged creatures might miss. Her hands, already showing the early adaptations that would eventually craft tools and shape civilizations, curl into fists capable of delivering devastating blows. The other hyenas begin to circle, their powerful shoulders rolling with each calculated step. They've done this countless times before, isolated a small group, used their superior numbers and coordination to overwhelm their victims. Their intelligence rivals that of many primates, and their social structure is complex enough to support sophisticated hunting strategies. But they've never faced anything quite like Kesi, a creature balanced on the knife's edge between animal instinct and human reasoning. Young Django begins to cry, his high-pitched wails cutting through the tension like a blade. The sound triggers something primal in every predator within hearing distance. It's the cry of helpless prey, of vulnerability incarnate. The hyena's eyes gleam with predatory excitement, their muscles tensing for the final rush that will end this standoff. But Kesi moves first, grabbing a jagged rock the size of her fist and hurling it with deadly accuracy at the nearest hyena. The stone strikes the beast square in the muzzle with a crack that echoes across the savanna. Blood spurts from its nose as it yelps in pain and surprise, stumbling backward. This display of tool use, one of the earliest recorded instances of projectile weapons in human ancestry, sends shockwaves through the pack's confidence. They expected claws and teeth, not strategic thinking and technological innovation. The wounded hyena shakes its massive head, blood spattering the dry grass, its eyes now filled with rage rather than simple hunger. But Kesi's victory is short-lived. The pack leader, a scarred veteran with one torn ear and a network of old bite marks across its muzzle, steps forward with the patience of a creature that has survived countless battles. It begins to move in a wide circle, forcing Kesi to turn constantly to keep it in sight, while the other hyenas close the distance from behind. This is the moment when survival depends not just on individual courage, but on the bonds that tie families together, the cooperative instincts that would eventually build villages, cities, and civilizations. From somewhere behind the rocky outcrop comes an answering roar, deeper, more powerful than Kesi's call. Barak crashes through the underbrush like a force of nature, his muscular frame scarred from countless encounters with the prehistoric world's dangers. In his hands, he carries a massive branch, nearly 6 feet long and thick as a man's arm. His timing is perfect, arriving just as the hyenas are most focused on Kesi and the children. The reunion electrifies the air with hope, but there's no time for relief. The pack immediately adjusts their strategy, spreading wider to account for this new threat. Barak and Kesi position themselves back to back, creating a defensive circle around their children. This formation, 2 adults protecting their young, represents one of the fundamental building blocks of human society. It's a strategy that will be repeated countless times throughout history, from prehistoric families to modern military units. The largest hyena makes its move, launching itself at Kesi with jaws wide enough to crush her skull, but she's ready. Her powerful legs drive her sideways as her arms swing the improvised club in a devastating arc. The impact sends shockwaves up her arms as the branch connects with the hyena's ribcage, a sound like breaking timber that carries the promise of internal injuries. The beast crashes to the ground, gasping and writhing, its hunting days ended by a creature it had underestimated. Behind them, Barak faces 2 hyenas simultaneously, his makeshift weapon whistling through the air as he keeps them at bay with a combination of calculated strikes and intimidating roars. His movements show the fluid grace of our ape ancestors, combined with the strategic thinking that would eventually distinguish humans from all other species. Each swing of his club is precisely timed, each step calculated to maintain position while protecting his family. The remaining hyenas begin to show signs of uncertainty. 3 of their packmates are down, 1 dead, 2 severely injured, and their intended prey has proven far more dangerous than anticipated. Pack hunters are opportunists by nature, preferring easy kills to prolonged battles that might result in their own destruction. The cost-benefit analysis that governs all predator behavior is shifting rapidly against them. But the pack leader, driven by hunger and the genetic imperative to feed its own offspring waiting back at the den, makes one final desperate assault. It feints toward Barak before spinning with lightning speed toward Asha and baby Django. For a terrifying moment, it seems the beast will reach the children before either parent can intervene. This is the instant when everything hangs in the balance, when the future of human evolution depends on split-second decisions made by creatures still learning what it means to be human. Asha, displaying the intelligence that marks her species as something extraordinary, grabs a handful of coarse sand and flings it directly into the hyena's eyes. The beast stumbles, momentarily blinded, buying her mother the crucial seconds needed to reach them. Kesi's rock strikes the predator's skull with the force of desperate love, sending it crashing to the earth where it twitches once and lies still. The surviving hyenas, witnessing the destruction of their pack leader and the fierce determination of this small family, finally break and flee. Their retreating forms disappear over the hills like ghosts returning to the spirit world, leaving behind the scattered remains of their fallen comrades. The immediate threat has passed, but the echoes of this battle will resonate through generations of human development. As the dust settles and their heartbeats gradually slow to normal rhythm, Kesi and Barak survey the battlefield around them. 5 hyenas lie motionless in the grass, testament to the power of family bonds and emerging human intelligence. Little Asha still clutches her baby brother, her eyes bright with the knowledge that she contributed to their survival. This moment represents more than just another day in the prehistoric world. It's a glimpse of humanity's future, written in courage and cooperation. The implications of this encounter extend far beyond a single family's survival. These early hominids have demonstrated tool use, strategic thinking, cooperative defense, and the transmission of survival knowledge between generations. Asha learned by watching her parents that rocks could be weapons, that sand could blind enemies, that intelligence could overcome brute strength. These lessons will shape her own parenting when she has children of her own, creating an unbroken chain of knowledge that stretches from this ancient savanna to the modern world. As evening approaches, the family begins the careful process of relocating to a more defensible position. The scent of blood will attract scavengers and other predators throughout the night, making their current location unsuitable for rest. Barak scouts ahead, while Kesi gathers their few possessions: sharp stones for cutting, digging sticks for finding roots and tubers, and the precious fire sticks that hold the potential for warmth and protection. The journey to their new shelter takes them through landscapes that tell the story of a world in constant flux. Ancient riverbeds carve deep channels through rock formations that speak of countless floods and droughts. Fossil evidence embedded in exposed cliff faces reveals the bones of creatures that once dominated this environment: massive elephants with straight tusks, saber-toothed cats, and bizarre pig-like beasts that weighed as much as modern rhinos. Night falls over the East African landscape, like a curtain of stars and shadows. The family settles into a rocky overhang that provides protection from above, while offering multiple escape routes. Barak positions himself at the entrance while Kesi nurses baby Django, her eyes constantly scanning the darkness for signs of danger. Asha curls up between them, her small body radiating the warmth of shared security. The sounds of the prehistoric night create a symphony of survival: the distant roar of big cats claiming territory, the splash of hippos in nearby water sources, the rustle of small creatures moving through the undergrowth in their own endless quest for food and safety. Each sound carries meaning for these early humans, information that could mean the difference between life and death before another sunrise. But tonight, they rest secure in the knowledge that they have faced one of nature's most formidable challenges and emerged victorious. The bonds between them have been tested in the crucible of mortal combat and proven stronger than steel. The lessons learned: that intelligence can defeat brute force, that cooperation multiplies individual strength, that love provides motivation beyond mere survival, will echo through the ages. As Kesi drifts towards sleep, her hand resting on the club that saved their lives, she dreams of vast grasslands where her descendants will walk upright toward distant horizons. She cannot know that her courage has contributed to a genetic legacy that will eventually spread across continents, build cities that touch the sky and reach for stars beyond the earth. She knows only that tomorrow will bring new challenges, new opportunities to prove that this fragile flame of consciousness burning in their primitive minds is worth preserving. The story of this single day in the lives of our ancestors illuminates the crucible in which human nature was forged. Every instinct for protection, every capacity for love, every spark of intelligence that defines our species was tested and refined in moments exactly like this one. The next time you hold your own child, remember Kesi's fierce determination. The next time you face seemingly impossible odds, remember Barak's unwavering courage. The next time you solve a problem through cleverness rather than strength, remember young Asha throwing sand in a predator's eyes. 4.3 million years ago, on an African savanna where the future of humanity hung in the balance, a small family proved that love, intelligence, and cooperation could overcome any obstacle. Their victory was not just their own, it was ours, written in the DNA that connects us across the vast expanse of time to that moment when everything we would become was decided by the courage of creatures who refused to surrender to the darkness.